Hello everyone, welcome to Foreigner Farming in the Philippines. I'm going to be doing a little bit more planting here shortly, but I wanted to illustrate the soil type that we have, and so that people will clearly understand what we are up against here and in the natural part of our soil. In this area right in here, these 4 trays, and there's one down here that I just set below, is where I planted the onions, and they came up and got about that tall. That's one of them right there, and we had those heavy rains and it just beat them to death. And we had much the same happen to the carrots here. They came up and they were doing well, but the rain did them no favors, and they just don't, the roots just don't go in. If I could, I'm not going to transplant any of these. Not this one here. So you can see the roots on the bottom of this. They're just barely down into the soil, and that's because this soil is packed so tight, and this is damp, and this is actually some of the better. This soil that I'm going to do the demonstration on over here is well, all this soil is not, all this soil is better than just the plain old clay that you would go around and find anywhere other than what's in the garden. The garden soil has had, I don't know how many yards, cubic meters, whatever you want to say. I don't know how many yards of rice hulls we've put in there. A lot. And all this soil here has had quite a bit of rice hulls put in it. So it's not natural soil. But what I'm going to do to give you a demonstration on how dense this soil is I'm going to weigh it. I noticed this, and I had the idea for the video when I was bringing, this is the tray of marigolds, what's left of the marigolds after we planted them in the raised bed. And I just was thinking about halfway up here, halfway back to the house, how heavy this little tray of soil was getting, and thought it would make a good video to show you how dense and how heavy this soil is. Now this soil is damp, but it's not moist. I mean, it's okay. It's damp soil. It's not even as moist as this here. This is pretty moist. So I might even use one of those rather than this one, or weigh them both. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tray, and I'm going to maybe I'll just use that one. I'm going to take a tray and take half of the soil out, and mix it with half with this with these rice hulls. And these aren't fully composted yet. It'll probably take another year and a half for these to turn into good compost. But it was just some that was laying on the top of the pile there, and so I thought I'd bring it up as an example. And to lighten your soil, this is actually better than the compost. So I'm going to do a little demonstration here. I'll set this here. I'm going to take this tray out, and we're going to weigh it. And it's heavy. It weighs 7.1 kilos, and it's full of soil. So I'm going to take half of it out. There's really no reason to treat it kindly, because there's nothing in it that's growing that's worth a damn. I'm just going to dump like half of it out. Got this back up here. Although you can see that. And I'm just spreading it around a little so that it'll be easier to mix. And because I'm going to be planting here shortly, I want to use a lighter soil, because it wasn't just the rains that kept our seedlings from doing that well. It was this crazy dense soil that we've got that just doesn't allow the roots to thrive. This soil must be absolutely wet for it to be softened up a bit. And if it dries out any, then it's like concrete. So I'm going to continue mixing this up here. I should probably have gotten the wheelbarrow and brought it up so that I could properly mix this, or a second bucket, and just gone bucket to bucket. But I think I can do this all right here. It's getting there. Yeah, that's not bad at all right there. So you can see, if I take a little bit of soil out of this tray and just go like that, that's clay. And it's holding together like that. And when the soil is just sitting in this tray, that's what it turns into. This soil here, when I go like that, it'll actually break up. It won't hold. See that? See the difference? And that just allows more area for the roots to expand downward. And this tray, which is just as full as it was before, now only weighs 3.9 kilos. So you can see the difference in the density of the soil by adding the rice hulls to it. Now I'm going to plant in this tray, and I'll bet those seeds just spring out of there, and the whatever I plant in there will thrive. These marigolds, you know, did okay, but I can just tell that they're not liking this hard, compacted soil. And this isn't that wet. It may not even clump. You know, it did. Even not wet, it still clumps together. So in these clods, this is what I dumped out of that tray. And you can see when I squeeze it like that, it just immediately forms. So that's the difference in having clay soil and actual almost potting soil. And it didn't take that much. That's what's left. That's what's left in this bucket. So I've actually got enough here, probably left in this bucket, to do 2 more of these trays and just loosen it up. So off to planting we go here. Alright, so in this one I planted some dill and some marigolds. Where's that marigold package? There wasn't very many seeds in either one, so like half of this is marigolds and half is dill, but I have wanted both, and so we have both those started now. I've got these big packets of California Wonder bell peppers and jalapenos here. So that's going to take probably all the rest of these trays. And I haven't made up my mind. Look, the transplanting didn't work that well. I'm trying to make up my mind whether or not I'm going to start these in trays or just direct plant them. I might just, you know, I might plant a couple, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll plant a tray of each of these, and the rest I'll just direct plant. But I'm happy to have the dill and more marigolds going. So I'll set this aside over here. much lighter. And hopefully those will be up in a week to 10 days. I don't know what else I'm going to plant here. This squash I'm probably just going to direct plant as well. I got a lot of squash. Marcel was supposed to plant these flowers and she never did. I'll take those back in and remind her. And it's the humidity here, I tell you. Yeah, so we've got some company that just came, so I'm going to end this video up, but rest assured I'm going to plant the peppers today and the squash. I'll find me a spot out there somewhere. I hope that gives you guys a clear idea on the kind of soil that we have to deal with here on an ongoing basis and what it takes to get it loosened up. Thankfully, we have a whole piggery full of rice hulls that will probably be ready in about a year, and we have the spot for them right out there in the garden. Thank you, everyone. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.